There's a lot of wrong info circulating about the 2026 Ford Maverick. Don't be fooled by fake news. I'll break down the real changes straight from reliable sources. The 2-liter EcoBoost front-wheel drive is back as the entry-level engine, making the Maverick more affordable. Again, this has been a big complaint by a lot of shoppers, and the Maverick market has shrunk over the years because of those increasing prices. Ford's addressed this. We'll get into this in the video, the exact price decreases, and colors changed too. Eruption green and desert sand, like the one behind us, they're gone. New shades, orange fury metallic, and marsh gray. Now, some features have shifted. The spare tire, for example, is now optional on every model, so you can pay to have the spare tire. You've got the power sliding rear window moved to as an option on certain models. We'll get into the exact models in the video, why it's left, what positive result has been brought about by this. So that's just very much the start. In this video, I'm going to cover all the verified changes for the 2026 Ford Maverick and what to watch out for. So the don't be fooled section, we'll cover it because a lot of the information on the internet is just wildly incorrect. There's a lot of fake news, and it's just not just small errors. These are either very extremely lazy errors or extremely deliberate errors just to get views. Pretty frustrating. That's why I'm back in the office. I had to crack out the office again because I've got to kind of go hard on this and really get the facts straight. I don't like people being misinformed and led, so don't get caught by bad info. This goes all the way back to when I was doing videos 3 years ago when you had websites saying, wait for the Toyota Stout because it's coming out real soon and it's going to be so much cheaper than the Ford Maverick. Now you've got sites saying, wait for the 2026 Maverick, Ford Maverick, because there's major changes, from everything to major changes, new platform, new powertrains, much more efficient hybrid system. There's a lot of fake news out there. Let's put the pedal to the metal on this video. I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, and I'm here to help you get the facts straight. I want to help save you thousands of dollars, and I want to make sure you don't get fooled. Let's jump right in. All right, so before we officially get started, I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Please hit that like button. It's all that I ask of you before we get into the really nitty-gritty, don't be fooled information and all the real information on the 2026 Ford Maverick from reliable sources such as Ford. By the way, I work at a Ford dealership, so I should be able to get this right. Just hit that like button to help us out. If you can, share the information with any groups or people that you know. It'll really help out this small family business. It'd be greatly appreciated, and we are blessed to have all our subscribers and members, especially the members, supporting us. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, members. Now let's get into it. So there's so much bad information out there that even AI is getting it wrong, because AI doesn't always necessarily know what is a reliable source and a very unreliable fake source. Like those websites 3 years ago that were saying, don't buy any current vehicle because the Stout is coming out, next year. They had you believing it was coming out in 6 months or 1 year, that Toyota Stout, and that it'd be under $20,000. So much fake information out there. It's ridiculous. It's confusing AI. For example, right behind me, I'm not sure if you can see that, but we've got Copilot search here saying the 2026 Ford Maverick features significant updates in design. False. Fake news. Don't be fooled. Performance. Fake news. Don't be fooled. And technology enhancing its appeal as a compact pickup truck. And you go into it and they get some things right, but they get some things wrong, making it very difficult. So yes, they get some things right, talking about the 2-liter EcoBoost available, but it says it now delivers 265 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque with an 8-speed transmission. Some sites are even saying that the truck is going to tow more. Also, not the case. Let's look at some of this. And a lot of these websites seem really, really spot on. For example, here, you got the 2026 Ford Maverick redefines the compact pickup segment with bold updates in design, performance, and hybrid efficiency. All not true. Blending urban practicality with rugged, well, blah, blah, blah. Let's skip that. It says the EcoBoost and hybrid powertrains have enhanced towing capacity. So I'm not making this up. And new driver assist technology. Yeah, not the case. Talking about that they've expanded the XLT and Lariat trims. Well, we'll talk about what's actually changed with all the trims. We're not losing any, we're not gaining any, but they've all changed. There's some websites talking about an ST line version. Haven't heard anything from Ford in regards to that. That's a smaller change that could actually happen, but nothing is confirmed. So no reliable sources saying there's going to be an ST line. And then they go on to say that, you know, you're going to get Sync 5 infotainment system, that there's going to be advanced hybrid powertrain options, which would have you believe that either the 2.5 liter non-plug-in hybrid is going to somehow get better fuel economy, you would think, or that there's a plug-in coming along. But then later on, they actually talk about expected fuel economy, and there's absolutely no change, 39 miles per gallon. But then they do say that there could be a plug-in, highly unlikely. Rumored plug-in hybrid with plus 50 miles per gallon. It is gonna I'm almost positive it's gonna happen. That's a speculative, educated guess, but it's probably going to come with the new major changes. This website and many are talking about major changes to the 2026 Ford Maverick, and I don't get what their purpose is. Either they're doing it in a deceptive fashion, and they want to make sure you don't get a 2025 Ford Maverick or 2026 Ford Maverick, because when it doesn't happen, you'll just say, oh, well, it was supposed to happen, so it must be right around the corner. Not quite. The mid-model refresh happened for 2025. A lot of websites are talking also about major changes, all sorts of little changes on the inside and outside. No, that occurred for 2025. Mid-model refresh, a model generally lasts 5 to 10 years. Mid-model refresh happened for 2025. So we can expect major changes to the Ford Maverick somewhere around 2028 or beyond. Usually after the mid-model, you get 2 to 4 years after the mid-model refresh for the major refresh. Websites are talking about the 2026 being a new platform. No, this is still the C2 or C4. I believe it's the C2 platform. So same platform, no major changes. The front fascia isn't changing. The LED lighting isn't changing. Sustainable materials, rear legroom, that's a big one. A lot of people would say, I've been waiting on, I've been thinking of buying a Ranger or a Colorado or a Tacoma, but hey, that Maverick for 2026 is getting more rear legroom. I'm just gonna wait for that. You're gonna miss out on the purchase you're currently thinking about for something that's just not going to happen. So I could go on. There's actually more highly incorrect information out there, but this is wild because this is a website that seems, you look through it and you're like, wow, this is very well done. It's polished, it's proper. It doesn't seem like, there's any weird major mistakes. So you take this sort of as gold. It's really not. If you want what's, much more accurate than this is actually go build on the website, the Ford Build and Price website, build a 2025 Ford Maverick. And that's basically what your 2026 is going to be. There aren't going to be very many fascia changes. They're not changing the bumper, the lights, the grille. That was for 2025. We're getting the same thing for the next 2 to 4 years. So we're looking at 2027, absolute earliest we'd see those changes, but probably more 2028 to as late as 2030. We'll wait for official news from Ford about when we're getting a full model refresh, but let's cover the actual major changes. Now, the major changes come down to the return of the 2-liter front-wheel drive EcoBoost as the entry-level powertrain. So this is coming back, and this is helping with pricing. Pricing on certain models is going to be $1,000 less. Pricing issues have been a problem because a lot of people were originally interested in the Maverick because of the price more than anything else. And don't get me wrong, you should be considering the Maverick because this is a great truck. We owned one. I have experience with them. I've sold many. I've seen some come back for recalls, usually minor stuff that gets fixed. Ford being responsible and jumping on the problem instead of just blaming it on the customers. There have been most of the recalls. There were several, but they're all pretty much handled. So what's coming out of the factory now is a much more polished and refined version than the first year or two of Ford Mavericks that we received. Now, all the Mavericks, you see, they're not going to have the black logo anymore. You can get that as an aftermarket part through Ford Performance, but that, the front fascia changes and the interior changes, forget all that. Basically, all it boils down to is same look as the 2025. We've lost 2 colors, gained 2 colors, and the logo, you're not going to get it in black from the factory. The new colors, Orange Fury, that's in on, and it is hot. I love the color. Fantastic. And Marsh Gray, which if you want to see what it looks like, check out a Ranger, Ford Ranger at a dealership, or for example, often you'll see it on a Ford F-150 STX. Marsh Gray is incredible as a color. I love it, and it's a love or hate color. People either love it or hate it. Same thing when we had the school bus yellow, whatever Ford called it. It was orange something, orange tri-coat. We all called it in the Maverick community school bus yellow because it was essentially identical to a school bus. It was yellow, but they called it orange. This new orange Fury metallic tri-coat is going to be pretty darn stellar. I don't think it's going to be a love or hate color. It's going to be you're either indifferent to it or you love it, which is pretty awesome. But it's getting rid of a love or hate color. But the people that love it really love it. Eruption green, gone. And people loved this color or hated it. And more people loved it than those that loved desert sand. But desert sand is also gone, and that was also a love or hate color. But the people that loved it did love it, and they kind of found it unique, and they wanted a Maverick sometimes just for that color because they couldn't get it elsewhere. So I wish we could have had the extra 2 colors, but we're losing 2. It happens. It means if you want desert sand or eruption green, don't wait on all these fake changes that fake news is talking about. A new platform, a better hybrid system. Nonsense. Poppycock. Get a 2025 in one of the colors that you want. If you want one of the new colors, order up a 2026. You can now order them. So Front-Wheel Drive EcoBoost is the new base model. It kicks off pricing at around $28,840 US. That's undercutting the hybrid front-wheel drive and EcoBoost all-wheel drive that's currently available by $1,000 because it was currently $29,840. So Ford is also going to increase production of these highly popular models. I get a lot of demand for XLs. Right now we have some XLs. Ford has drastically increased already from year one, where they were making almost no XLs, proportionally speaking, based on a ratio, to now the ratio of XLs is decent, but the demand is still higher than that proportion. So Ford is going to increase the XLs and the XLTs. The XLT with luxury package, very popular. I highly recommend it if you want proper wheels on the vehicle. The more I feel it's more of an upscale interior, but some actually prefer the all black and gray interior of the XL. So check 2025s out on the lots. Expect the same thing for your 2026. So more improved availability. XLT all-wheel drive hybrid has been extremely popular, and we get a lot of them, but we're going to get even more. So Ford wants to give the customer base what they want. So you can order up your 2026 Ford Maverick in the US already. Sometimes in Canada, we fall behind by a week or 2, and the worst I've ever seen is 2 months. But if we can't already do it, we're probably going to be able to do it in a week or 2. So give us a little moment, some spare time. Speaking of spare, the spare tire is now going to be available as a standalone option. Pretty much every trim, if I'm not mistaken. Check it out on the Build and Price website for 2026 when it becomes available, or dealership ordering systems, or the order guide from Ford is the ultimate source. I'll repeat that. The ultimate source for proper information is the Ford 2026 Ford Maverick ordering guide. If you can't already do it, very shortly, you're going to be able to find that online. Now, the power sliding rear window moved from a standard option on the Lariat and Tremor to being available for those models, and it has helped with pricing. Car and Driver, very good source. They agree with me here. I work for Ford, so I think I'm a half decent source here, but I can, I like to plug those that I like. So of course, Tim Bart's on YouTube, fantastic source. He's also working at a dealership and gets the inside scoop. So Car and Driver, they note no major changes for 2026, given the model only recently, 2025, received a styling refresh. They're applying logic. I'm applying insider information, and I'll tell you the ultimate source, other than, Johnny here from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews or Tim Bart's at Long MacArthur Ford. The ultimate source is the Ford 2026, well, any model you're looking at with Ford, it's called the Ford Ordering Guide. We have access to those and we get our information from those. That's why sometimes I'm a little later on information. I let the market, you could say, pump everything. They've got to spew out, and then I can don't be fooled through everything and make sure that, we're not waiting on vehicles that aren't going to happen or are going to happen much later. Like the Toyota Stout 3 years ago, I said, yeah, Toyota very well could make this vehicle, but we're at least 3 years out. If they do it very quickly, it'll take 3 years. And if they follow the regular timeline of producing a vehicle from nothing to something, it's 5 to 10 years. 3 to 5 years actually is usually when you take an already existing platform and parts from every other vehicle and you kind of make a stew of a vehicle, putting it together. So what do we have for powertrains? Well, the reintroduced 2-liter front-wheel drive EcoBoost as an entry-level option that gave us a $1,000 discount. And I'm not going to call that a major change, a whole new powertrain. It's just bringing back front-wheel drive like we had early on. It helps lower the price. So that entry-level EcoBoost, as we mentioned earlier, bring the price down to $28,840 instead of $29,840 for the 2025. 2025 Ford Maverick, though, currently has the employee pricing on it and a decent interest rate. So the two together make it the least expensive Maverick that we've had in a good little while, because there haven't been rebates on the Ford Maverick. So if a dealer tries to tell you there's no employee pricing on a Ford Maverick, they're wrong. Visit or call up another dealership and ask the question straight up. Do you do employee pricing on the Ford Mavericks you have on the lot? If the answer is yes, well, they're worth a visit. I know Long MacArthur Ford, I'm sure will be glad to help you out with that in the United States. And I'm Johnny. I work at a dealership in Valistry Ford. I'll be happy to help you out with an employee price on a 2025 Ford Maverick here in Valistry Ford in Canada. Now the spare tire, as mentioned earlier, it's optional. Power sliding rear window, also optional, but we've had price decreases. And we've got those new colors, so no major overall redesign for the 2025, from the 2025 model for the 2026 Ford Maverick, despite all sorts of websites, even AI getting it wrong, because there's so many what appear to be legitimate websites that are going to give you this horribly incorrect information. So the 2026 Ford Maverick brings incremental yet meaningful refinements. There are some complaints about the black. I've heard a lot of complaints about the black Ford logo, that people want that traditional blue logo with the white lettering. So they're going to get that through all the models. Big complaint was pricing. Well, Ford's addressing that by bringing back the front wheel drive to the EcoBoost, making the entry level, saving $1,000. And there we go. We're not losing any models. We're almost certainly not going to get any new models or trims. It's actually trims, but the Lobo is staying, the Tremor is staying, the Lariat, the XL, the XLT. So we've got our current models, they're staying. There's going to be no changes to the hybrid powertrain. If a plug-in comes along, Ford will announce it in a meaningful way. For now, it's starting to be too late to expect a plug-in for 2026. I highly suspect it's going to come with the new platform. So we're thinking 2028 to 2030. I'll come back with more legitimate information on that. So don't expect any sweeping changes until that platform change, which is not due for a few years. Now, folks, I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. I work hard. I miss sunny pool days, the first one in over a week, to make these videos. If you could please support this small family business with the thumbs up. And if you could, even on top of that, if you haven't already subscribed, turn bell notifications on, subscribe, share this material. It will really help our community grow. With a bigger community comes more cars and more power. Bigger community, more knowledge, also equals more power. I'm really blessed to have you all. Thank you. A very special thank you to the members. Thank you so much for supporting this. Subscribers, also thank you for supporting and making this channel possible. I will continue to work hard to get the right information to you so that none of you get fooled. Really appreciate you being along for this ride. We've been doing this for a few years, over 1,000 videos now, close to 15,000 subscribers. Let's round out that number and get to 15,000 subscribers. Now I'm gonna go take the family for a little bit of mini putt and then some pool time. Until next time, I wish you all more cars and more power. I hope you get to put the pedal to the metal on a car that you love sometime real soon, whether it's the Ford Maverick or any other vehicle. Let me know in the comments what current vehicle on the market interests you, or vehicles. It can be a car, truck, SUV. I want to know, and I'm going to work very hard to get back to all your comments. Thank you so much. Godspeed, everyone.